In the previous videos, I have shown you how to set up and create a user. In this video, I will show you how to read with PHP from ArangoDB. So let's go to VS Code right away and let's create a new file. Let's call it getuser.php. This file is going to obviously connect to the database. Therefore, we're going to require once. And then I'm going to just point to this directory, and I want to point to the file that contains the connection to the database, which is the arangodb.php file. Once we're connected, we need to execute an Arango statement. So we're going to copy the line from the create user file, which is this line. By the way, this line can also be copied from the ArangoDB, which is the line here, the one that says Arango statement. I just copy it and then I will put it in the get user file like so. This is going to allow us to execute Arango query language commands. Once we have that, we're going to put everything inside a try catch. Always do this, just in case that you have an exception. And the exception will be the EX. If something goes wrong, I will just pass the exception to the client. Let's test it right away. Semicolon there. Go to Postman, and now we're going to create a new request. This is going to be localhost / getuser.php. As you can see, there are no errors. So I'm just going to put in the try and echo. This is the user. That's what I want to return to the client. Save it and test it. Now you see the output there. Check. What we're going to do is we are going to retrieve the data from a specific user. I know I have a couple of users in my system. I can show you that here. I have user with name B and the ID is 987. So that's the one I want to get from Postman. So my idea is that I could pass here the ID, which equals 987, and this is what I want to return. So now I know I have a variable called ID. So let's go to VS Code, and then I will say that the user ID equals whatever I get from ID, and then I will just echo the user ID. Now you see how I code professionally in real-world systems, one line at a time, as few lines as possible. So now I have the ID 987 popping up. Since this is what I need, I'm going to now create a statement. So I will say statement equals new Arango statement. To avoid typos, I copy this and then I paste it. This is a function and it takes several arguments. The first argument is the connection to the database. The connection to the database is in the ArangoDB file that I'm calling right there. And it's the last line that we created. In this case, it's called the ArangoDB variable. That will be the first argument, first parameter, the ArangoDB. The second argument is an associative array in which we have the query that we want to execute. And the query in this case is going to be a query that allows us to select from the users collection the specific user. So in Arango language, this will look like this. For user in users, that's the collection. And let me just do the in capitalized so you can see this. User will be the individual user and users is the collection that we want to point to. And then we want to filter. This is just like plain JavaScript, right? That's the beauty of Arango query language. It's so intuitive. We're going to filter. We're going to say that the user that we're pointing at the moment, the key of the user should be the key that we want to pass. So in this case, we want to pass 987. If that is true, if there is a match, we're going to return the user. If you know JavaScript, you should probably know it. That's why you're watching this video. This is how it's done. Now, obviously, this collection users could be a variable. In this case, it could be fixed, but I'm going to turn it into a variable so you learn how to use variables also in collections. And this key here should be a variable because I don't always want to get 987. Maybe I want to get 111 or 222, right? So what we're going to do is we say, if this is the collection, the name of the collection, you do 2 @, and then you give any name you want to this variable. So I will call it just collection. And then for the filter, the key, I will break this right there into a new line so you can see the whole thing. I will filter the user key. This is the user, and that's the key I'm pointing to. I show you this here. That's the user, and that's the key. So this is the default column, not column name, but key name. And this 987 will be the variable that I want to pass. Since this could change, I say add, and then I give it any name I want. In this case, I want to call it key. You can call it key X if that's what you want. And then we're going to return the user. Now, these variables need to be binded, and this is because Arango has also security in mind. So the next argument will be the bind vars, and this again is an associative array. We're going to bind the variables, and the variables that we want to bind are the following. This collection variable, I made so many mistakes when I was doing this. I tried to copy all these and put it there, but it doesn't work like that. The first @ acts like an escape character. So this is what you need to copy. Add collection, only one add. The collection is going to be called users, and the second variable that I want to add is the add key. Remember, you copy after the first add. Since this one only has one add symbol, I copy just key. And the key that I want to pass in here is the user ID, which is a dynamic key. And I think that will do the parameters of this function. So now I continue, and I'm going to create a cursor. The cursor will equals the statement, and we're going to execute it. Execute. So we execute the statement. And once we have executed, we're going to get some data out. Obviously, we want to get the data for the user that we're trying to fetch. So we just call it data, and this will be from the cursor. I want to get all. This is also very nice. Arango has these get all and get extra functions, and they do the whole job. And now that I get all, I am going to pass this to the client, echo data. So you see how I fix the output that we're going to retrieve. Let's go to Postman and send this. Now we have an error. No value specified for declare bind parameter collection while parsing. Great. This that you see here is coming from the exception. Let's check it. It says for user in collection, that is the variable, and then we point to the collection called users. This should be working, but I can see the issue here is that when I copy it, I have this extra space there. It doesn't matter that you have it there, but it matters that you have it here. So make sure that that is deleted. Let's test it. Now we have the answer back. This is another warning. It says array to string conversion is not allowed. So when you look at the answer that we get here, it's probably because right here we are getting an array. We cannot just echo it. So let's test it. I'm going to print the answer from the database, the reply from the database. And now you can see here that I get the user, I get the ID, that's the ID, I get the key, that's the key, and I get the data, which is this name B. PHP is working with associative arrays, which is, or are, well, it's the exact same thing as a JSON object in PHP. So what we need to do now is we need to check if we get some data back, because this 987 does exist in the database, but this number, for example, does not. And now we have an empty array. So if we have data, we get an array with data in it, obviously, and if we don't have any data, we get an empty array. If we have an error, we go to the exception. Since that is the logical part, now this is what we are going to do. We're going to say that data equals cursor get all. And now we're going to check if we actually have some data. So we say if, then we're going to put here count if data equals 0. If we have no data, we're just going to echo, let's be nice to the client, we just echo an empty array, and then we just exit. If there are no data, if there's no data in the system. If there is data in the system, so I'm just going to create a user, and I'm going to get it from data position of 0. I'm getting to that because I know that the array in position 0 contains the object. So that's what I want to pass to the client. Now the user is whatever data contains. And then I will just echo user. Save it, test it. Here you have the user, the name is B, and the key is 987. I could pop this up a little bit more to make it respond with JSON. Why not? Let's just do it. But I'm not going to code all that. In the previous video, I show you how to create a user, and in the user creation, I responded with a header and the response code, and also a message. So we just copy that, and I'm just going to send it right there. So if everything was going fine, I will send the application as JSON. I will send a 200, and I will just echo the user. And there you have it. You have the name is B, and you have the key. I hope you like the video, and I hope you're learning a lot about it. Please go ahead and subscribe. If you have comments, I am very happy to read them. I'm very happy to respond to them and try to learn also from you. And in the next video, I will show you how to create read. I'm going to show you how we update users.